You don't have to be greedy with all your secrets. So,
especially in real estate, there's so much room for everybody to win.
Now we have this fun little phrase, co-opetition.
Not competition.
Co-opetition.
Co-opetition.
Where you work with your competitor.
Yep.
And because there's plenty of deals, there's plenty of real estate deals out there. Hello. I'm Sam.
I'm Brandon.
And this is the Middleton Methods podcast, where you get to be a fly on our wall to gain practical tips, gain insight, and laugh at our expense.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It is like the shortest intro ever.
I know, you should maybe work on...
Maybe you should work
that.
on doing the intro next time.
All right.
Look at this sexy man over here if you're watching a video today. If not,
I got some
he is sporting...
Rogaine for my chest.
Oh, you'll have to check out our IG or something. I'll post a picture. We've been posting pictures of our ugly sweater party, which is our Middleton Madness for the week.
That was a blast.
Such a blast. And I want to say
it was a huge success.
Yes.
There were awards and laughter and hairy chests and ugly sweaters. And
oh, yeah. It was so much fun.
Tattoos.
And amazing people. Oh, my gosh. So I don't know why I decided, let's throw a holiday party at our house. Why? Mm-hmm. I know why. I actually do know why. I as much as it's a ton of work to host parties here, we've done 4 big parties at our house this year, and every single one has been a blast. I've loved everybody that's come to every single one. It's just a good fit of people, and I just love it at the end of the day. When all is said and done, I'm so glad we did that. And so here we are approaching the holidays, and me thinking it's going to be hard as the holidays get closer for all of us to get together. Mm-hmm. And what better way to do it than to host a party? And I wanted to do a theme. You really wanted to do white elephant, but it kind of got vetoed by people. So I said ugly sweater. Let's do an ugly sweater. So I'd say a good half of the people showed up with ugly sweaters on, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me remind you, we live in Florida. So it was 82 degrees or something.
I must have had 3 of the guys call me look, dude, is it really a sweater? I'm yeah, Sam cranked the AC down to 62. It's like an ice box in the house. So you can wear your sweater, but you can always take it off.
Yeah, seriously. Come prepared with a t-shirt on underneath. So some people just didn't. They were way too hot, whatever. Or didn't have time to get sweat, whatever may have you. It didn't matter, though. It was just, the whole point was just to get together and have a little potluck and have some fun. And throwing some ugly sweaters in the mix, definitely. Are you going to stand up for our people?
Sure.
Okay. I know some people are just listening, so he actually, look at this.
The tear
nice
in the
little
back?
Tear with a hairy back, and
this was easy because it was a t-shirt and it was nice.
And he was wearing it with jeans,
light.
so it blended in. Yeah, his t-shirt. So I knew Brandon would be extra sweaty, so we bought him 2 t-shirts that actually have sweaters printed on them.
Yeah, I knew I couldn't win anyway. It's not technically a sweater, but we're the host, so we were out of the competition. So it was just for good fun.
And I originally found this one. I don't know. I said something about finding ugly sweaters, and to be completely transparent, Brandon gave me an attitude about it and said, "I don't care what sweater I wear." And it was just he was busy, and I interrupted him, and he was like, "I don't care." And so to get him back, I literally pulled 2 of my girlfriends and said, "Which one of these is the ugliest?" He's going to wear the ugliest thing since he said he doesn't care. And this one won the vote. So when I showed it to Brandon,
I'm sorry.
he said, "Oh, but I really like this other one."
Out.
So we ended up getting him 2. They were both t-shirts. They both had sweaters printed on, and they were great. Everybody was laughing over them. I'm so glad. Brandon would never have worn that back in the day, so I really appreciate that you play full out more and more.
Well, you
because
help,
the
'cause
shy guy in you never would have wanted to wear.
Yeah.
The other one had tattoo sleeves, and the whole sleeves of the tattoos were these ugly Christmas tattoos, Santa Claus and ornaments. It was just crazy looking. What? Were you going to say something? Okay. So anyway, the madness, I guess, is just how all the build up and getting everybody there, and then all the food. We had so much food, but then how amazing everything pulls together. I literally have to work hard not to cry in those scenarios, because I just feel so full when people
we're having a good time.
They love us. They're here, and they're there because we had multiple people come up and say they drove hours from different areas of Florida just to come and celebrate because they love us. We've been building relationships so diligently, working on our relationships. And when we have moments like that where people just step up and come out and like, it's just very fulfilling. And I really appreciate those times. So speaking of relationships, and make sure to just check in on our Facebook and our IG and stuff. Like,
Instagram has the best stuff. If you follow us on Instagram stories, right, they're only up for 24 hours, so you definitely want to check out
you ended up posting the Ugly Sweater Instagram day, though, on your Facebook page. Yeah. So you can look out for that there if you want to see the whole thing. But like,
maybe Neil will cut in some clips.
Right down to like, last week we did the $250,000 divorce with our friends Bridget and Franklin.
Yep.
And Bridget came and sang the most beautiful Christmas song.
Man.
That was she felt very similar to us, like all these people that, and we're all so close, and we help each other in our businesses, and we're friends through life, and we're helping each other.
There's nothing better than doing business with your friends.
I know, right?
Not directly, not like we all are working in the same company, of course.
Right, but just helping each other out to get to the next level. It's very fulfilling. So she came and wanted to give something to all her friends too, and just set up her like little singing box and got her mic out, and she just belted out this beautiful song.
And then the kids took the microphone and
did like a dance party.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. So the whole point of this, like I started thinking about like the relationships, and it kind of ties into work as well and business. And so today we want to talk to you about the importance of relationships and why.
Side note.
Oh gosh.
Remember
this is impromptu.
No, we were living in Connecticut and we went and we toured all the like ridiculous mansions in Newport, Rhode Island.
Oh yeah.
So, just kind of an afterthought. Some of the wealthiest families, the Rockefellers, right? In the country, had those houses. Those were just their summer houses. Those like just
That's crazy because you're talking all those years ago too. They're huge and they're beautiful.
So, especially when you're a busy entrepreneur, it can be hard to get together for a lunch or a breakfast or just like little meetings here and there. But these parties are just a great way to get everyone together, right? Good people and strengthen those relationships just naturally, right? And it's something that the Rockefellers did. So obviously works on all levels. It's not just fun and, builds like strong personal relationships, but it doesn't hurt any of our business either to continue to strengthen those relationships. So I just remember that the Rockefellers hosted a lot of parties.
Another quick side note, if you really want to talk about like the craziest part of the madness is having like the kids
host more parties.
Like my kids feel like they're hosting their own party because all the kids come over. So like literally there were like 12 to 15 kids running around the house too, right? All under 5 years old. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun though to watch them all play together, but still crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about relationships today because we've obviously shared that in Middleton Madness, and we're going to share that again later on in the Marriage Minute. But for our main topic, we've had some exciting things going on in our real estate business. We haven't shared real estate updates in a while. But on the whole topic of relationships, like when you think about, we've had success in our businesses, we've had failures in our businesses, right? When it all comes down to it, though, there is an underlying thing to like, and it's not just money as the focus, it's the relationships and how we treat people in business, right? And we see a clear difference on the money we make and like in real estate, for example, how many deals we close and stuff like that when we are focused on the relationship side of the business.
Right.
So did I say that right? Did you want to add anything in there?
I did, and I'm drawing a blank. Hang on.
3, it'll come to you.
2, 1.
It'll come back to you, and then you can just interrupt
me. So yeah. So relationships, we're going to give you some stories of some specific relationships we had in the past, 5-7 deals in the last 5 few weeks?
Okay, so...
All right, so hang on. It is a rapid fire case study. So we're going to go through these kind of fast. But I want to give you like a case study of each of these deals so you can kind of hear the story of them, but we're going to do them rapid fire. So get out your pen and paper and be prepared
You're
to take
such
some notes.
strategic. So here's what we're going to teach you today.
I have to.
So here's the exciting part. We did, just in the last 5 weeks of really hopping back into our real estate again. We took a little time off from there and got back
Which
moving
is beautiful.
again.
How many businesses can you take a little time off for and come back and they're not gone?
Yeah, that actually is a great point. You really can just pick up real estate anytime. I just love it. For us, it's our part-time side income thing, right? We've shared many times. This is our, like, Middleton Methods and Freedom Methods is our long-term growth plan, something we're so passionate about doing. And our marketing company is something we love doing, but has been our bread and butter for years and years. That was all we were doing years ago, right? And then real estate, we really only have part-time to work on this business, but it generates cash money. And so this part isn't to brag, but it's super exciting that we jumped back in to it just 5 weeks ago, and we made $30K in just 5 weeks. And that's over 7 deals. We're wholesalers, so that's over 7 wholesale deals. And the craziness is actually one deal is a short sale / flip, and we haven't even seen that one at the finish line closing yet. So there's more money coming from that one. I think we're going to be closer to 45 by the time it's all said and done. So it's not to brag, but it's just to show that we're only working this business part-time and we're generating this in, a month, 2 months. Like, this is great money for a lot of people. And we just want to show you that the potential is out there with real estate investing. However, you got to keep in mind how important relationships are, right? Because
half of these deals probably shouldn't have happened, but it was because of the relationship that I built with the seller that they did happen.
Right, exactly.
Or the relationships I built with the buyer that made it happen.
And whether or not you've heard this 1,000 times, or this may be new information to you, but sales 101 is like understanding what your customer wants and being able to provide them with what they need. I mean, that's like any successful business just understands their customer. Mm-hmm. And that's like with real estate, the important part is building those relationships with the sellers and the buyers. But, it all starts with getting a deal, right? So it's so important not to be afraid of selling and not to think of it as sales, but you're really going and building relationships with the seller. So
let's break down how does that 30K break down over 7 deals? Which one do we want to start with?
Let's start with the meth trailer house.
The meth trailer.
Trailer house.
This one was
it's
funny.
not a house, it was a trailer.
This one was super boring because not exciting because I think we only made like $400 on it.
We didn't make anything. We just probably gave what we made to Uncle Sam in taxes. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Right. So that was a trailer in about the worst part of Hillbilly Central, right? Redneck Central. The paved road actually stopped before it. So this was just a complete dump in a little neighborhood that's pretty much known for people, who probably have meth problems.
But let's 30,000 foot view. Let's keep going. We have 7 deals to go through.
All right. So the seller called off of a postcard, wanted a certain price. We got it under contract and sent it out to some of our buyers, and no one was willing to pay anywhere near. It was like $15,000. No one wanted to pay anywhere near that. It just needed too much work. It was in a bad neighborhood. Like, there was very few people who would be even interested in.
AKA meth trailer.
Right.
I mean, you don't see those in the suburbs.
Yeah, right. So we almost lost the deal a couple of times. I wound up calling him back and telling him, look, this is just the facts. This is nothing personal. I'm not trying to, get this I'm just trying to get it at a fair price. And so we got it under contract. And then I only had like one buyer who was interested in it. She's like some sort of medical consultant, and her husband do this on the side as well. They buy these, $20,000, $30,000 properties as rentals, and they just hold them. And so the relationship I built with that buyer was great. I mean, I gave her a really great deal. Part of the reason we made so little on it was because she only wanted to be in for like 7,000, and I could only, and he, or 9,000, and he only wanted 8. So I took on the closing costs. There was some extra like fines and stuff, and I was just like, look, to get a good relationship with her and to solve this guy's problem, and he's been holding on to this trailer. I think he paid 20 grand for it for his son-in-law.
I remember you getting
And
off the
it was
phone
just
with
a
that
complete
guy
mess.
and coming to me and being like, I just got to help the guy out. I mean,
Right.
it was like, he's like, he likes to warn me because I do, I'm like in both of our businesses, I'm the numbers girl. So I'm always looking at the numbers, and he's saying, he came in and was like, we're not going to make anything off this deal. I just need to help the guy out.
Mm-hmm.
So but the result and the beauty of it was because
he
he
never
built
would've
that
sold that
relationship and helped that seller out. He was able to form the relationship with the buyer. So now we not only added a new buyer to our list, but she left happy because she got what she wanted out of the deal.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's that one.
Let's do. So here's something interesting about real estate, just to keep in mind. Like, every situation is so different. There's no black and white to real estate, and that's like one of the beauties of really understanding people and understanding sales. Like, don't take, like, building relationships, quote unquote, is very important. But like, go pick up a sales training book or go to a sales training course, because they teach you how to learn about the customer's needs at those things. And that's how Brandon got so good, and trial and error, obviously, and lots of practice. But you got to be empathetic to the sellers and their needs. And literally every situation in real estate is different. We've never come
but the
across
one thing
two
that
deals
is
that are
black
the
and
same.
the one thing that is black and white is
The numbers.
The property is worth what it's worth, and buyers are willing to pay what they're willing to buy, and
How do you
just need to.
how do you get that across to the sellers, right? And still make a deal and create a win-win for everybody and make a little money through the process too.
Right.
So let's talk about, the beautiful dump. That was a good one.
Oh yes, this is another deal that actually did fall apart.
This one fell apart.
yeah.
The seller straight up walked away and said, I don't want to do this.
Right. Seller was very skeptical, mainly because his wife was really skeptical. It's literally the only asset they own. They had it. They had this house. They wound up having it rented out. They had no business being landlords.
Can I interrupt for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I just don't want to give the takeaway at the very end of the story. I want people to be able to think about that. So while he's telling the story, think about the importance of follow-up and then the importance of overcoming objections. Because while he's giving the 2-minute explanation of this property, those are the two things you're going to hear is the importance of this guy, this whole deal fell apart, right?
Yep. So he's calling me. I never saw the house before we actually had it under contract. So he's calling me. He's telling me, there's no liens on the property. The house is clean. And in his mind, he had this little like lagoon in the back. He had, a few years back paid like $10,000 for the kitchen to be remodeled. And like in his mind, this house was beautiful. After I got under contract, obviously I had to do my due diligence, and I showed up at this house, and it was a complete dump. He's telling, and full of trash. Squatters had lived in it for a little while, and he's just telling me, about this $4,000 TV, which was one of the first ever flat screens, and he like never used it, and I can take it. And I'm telling you, I'll show you. Maybe I can splice in some pictures. It was scary bad. And probably it was going to take like $4,000 just in dump fees to get all the junk out of it.
I think I remember you showing me pictures
But I
of
didn't.
this one. It was so gross.
I didn't insult him, right? I didn't say, "What are you crazy? That's not worth that. That's not worth that," because we had already agreed on a price that was fair.
Yeah.
And there's no way he was going to sell this, on the MLS or anything like that. So his wife was really skeptical because they watch a lot of news, and the news will say stuff like, this old couple's taken advantage of by a real estate investor or whatever. So I showed him, here's the reality. Here's what it's worth, and I can close next week because he had lung cancer. And
I
he has all
actually
this
saw
stuff.
that on the news recently too.
He had all the, they have medical issues. They're in poverty for the most part, and they
So
really
he
need
had
this
all
$50,000.
right. So he had all these objections.
His wife did. They wouldn't even sign the contract. Actually, we had an agreement, but she didn't want to sign the contract. So I just said, you know what, fine. If you don't want to sign it before closing, which that doesn't make any sense.
Well, not only did they said, we don't want to do the deal, and they went away.
Right.
We had to follow
His
up
wife
with
didn't
them.
want to do the deal because she didn't think we were going to close.
So
someone had called her and said they're just going to sell it to somebody else.
So here's where it's important, because you're definitely getting deep in on these stories. We're never going to be able to do all 7. Here's what the important takeaway is. They are in a situation, and Brandon hears that they need the money, right? Medical bills and all that stuff. Like he's empathetic to these sellers and wants to help them. Most people at this point would say, "Meh, okay," they walked away, on to the next one. Mm-hmm. Most people would just walk away and keep on going, but Brandon ended up following up and realized that the main thing for them was just their fear that we weren't going to follow through.
Right.
So once he made them comfortable enough that we were going to follow through, and even said, "You know what, you don't want to sign," that's what Brandon was just saying.
Yeah,
you
I took a big risk by saying...
Huge risk. I was like, I thought Brandon was crazy.
Yeah, I took a big risk by actually closing on the property, like
What?
scheduling a closing with a title company and having the money wired to escrow and having everything orchestrated for the day of closing.
Without
and
a
they never
contract.
actually signed the contract. They said they didn't want to sign anything until they were at the closing table. You know, the real company, not just doing everything through email. And sure enough, they showed up after a doctor's appointment, and everything closed and everything was fine. And he called me 3 times afterwards, like, "Thank you so much. You know, I'm really sorry we were so skeptical and da-da-da-da, but now they're off. That chapter is closed. They're done with that big problem, and everybody's happy."
We made some money.
And he's probably going to refer me.
Our buyer's making money.
He's probably going to refer me a couple of deals in the next year, just, you know, friends and family, because he had a good experience. So who's he going to call? The person he trusts.
All right, let's talk about, I love this one. This one's a fun one. Let's do the tattoo house.
Okay. So
We're starting to nickname our properties. I hope you guys are enjoying these nicknames, because, you know, that really, I can't think of their names, but that famous couple on TV, like the really famous flippers right now, they nickname every house, and I think it's so adorable. So we have the tattoo house coming your way.
Yeah, so this, again, was another call off of a postcard.
And the takeaway from this one is don't be afraid to get creative. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about the deals that I keep forgetting to tell you what you're listening for.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to get creative.
So this is actually a nice rental property in a nice neighborhood of Tampa, South Tampa. And the husband and wife couple own a few. I think they probably own 3 to 5 rentals over the last 20 years. And this is one that they just had the tenant move out. They had to kick them out because they were running the guy owned a tattoo parlor, but I guess was doing some side jobs in the garage of the house. And the city found out and was actually filing judgments, because that's highly unsanitary and illegal. So that's why we call it the tattoo house. But when I went out there and met with the husband, they had talked to me about, you know, they've had these for 20 years. It's been great to them. You know, they're excited that we're a young couple doing the same thing because they know it works out. And they were talking about how they've owned this house for 20 years, and they didn't want to sell it because they wanted to sell it, but they didn't want to get capital gains, right? So they bought it for, let's say they bought it for $50,000 20 years ago, and they wanted $177,000 for it. So that means they're going to pay a big chunk of that profit in taxes.
So you had to come in and creatively help them figure out a way to do that. And so we ended up doing we negotiated an owner financing situation.
Yep. So we created a note and mortgage and, put $20,000 down and paying them interest only with a balloon, which means the whole thing has to be paid off in 5 years, not 30 years. And they're super happy about it. Half the reason easily is because they trust us, right? I said, look, I can give you phone numbers to other sellers who not only have created mortgages with us, and we bought their house this way, which they weren't a stranger to the process, but part of that comes down to trust. Now they trust that we're putting $20,000 skin in the game that we lose if it doesn't work out, right? But the other part is knowing that, we had other homeowners who we've successfully bought, held it for a little while, and then sold it and cashed them out, and everybody's happy. So I said we can show them that. We can show them proof of income and show them our credit, that we're credit worthy.
And now here's a fun little part. Oh, sorry, go ahead. You sound like you're rounding out a thought.
Yeah, so that's an important part about building trust, because you need to be able to trust the person if you're going to create a deal like that. And
so here I come in with the fun money side of it is we were actually making a nice, decent wholesale fee. We were getting $10,000 off of this one. Our buyer...
We were only going to make 6.
Oh, well, right. Well, we ended up doing 12, and
right.
This deal is closing today. We're very excited about it. The buyer was coming in, and Brandon wanted to just see if we could do... He had a feeling we could do a little bit better on the deal than we were, especially with the owner financing terms in play. So we ended up going back and renegotiating with the seller, got the price down a little bit more, and Brandon came to me and said, I mean, how am I going to present this to the buyer? Because now he's going to see that our fee has gone up way higher than 6. It's actually 12 now. And
I didn't negotiate the price lower. I negotiated how much we would put down lower. Because originally, I think he was willing to put down as much as like 30,000 or 25, 26,000.
These little details don't really matter that much. Right. So anyway, it was like, how do you present this to the buyer now? Because sometimes buyers get a little greedy. If we don't do like a double closing, they can see our marketing fee on the HUD and they see how much we're making, and we're going to go from 6 to 12,000. That's double now. So how do you do that? Well, when all was said and done at the end of the day, the buyer didn't have to put as much money down. He ended up saving some money for the buyer in the process of making us more money.
So quick correction
on our fee.
We were actually negotiated so we could make 14,000. That was the savings of the down payment. So we could make 14,000. So before I called my buyer and that relationship, I called my title company and talked to my title agent and said, look, could we do it this way? Could we do it that way? What are my options? Because I have a great relationship with the title company because we've done business together and, work that relationship. So she kind of explained me the options, and one of the options would have allowed us to kind of like not show the end buyer how much we were making, but it was kind of messy, and I just wanted to have a nice clean deal. So then I was like, you know what, let me just contact my buyer, and we have a good relationship. We've done quite a few deals together. And I said, you know what, I didn't say I already negotiated. I said, if I can negotiate your down payment a little bit lower and I make more, you don't care, right? And he said, no, I don't care how much you're making. Which was good, right? Other buyers are not that way. And I said, you know what? If I can negotiate a little bit lower and even save you a little bit, you're cool with that, right? He's like, absolutely. So instead of making 14, I said, look, I saved you 2,000, so I'm giving up 2,000. So we make 12, and he saves 2, and he's buying a sweet leverage deal. He's buying a great house on seller finance terms, and this was awesome.
He didn't have to put as much down. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, the seller is not paying capital gains, but they're getting actually more than what they are asking for after 5 years because of all that interest that's going to accrue.
Mm-hmm. And so this one involved getting a little creative again, right? We had to get creative, but again, like these things don't happen if we're not building the relationships.
Oh. And who helped us? Who sat with us right here? Where I was like, "Hey, I've got this deal."
I don't know.
And
do we have a friend sit with us and talk to us about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On a Thursday. I was saying we're going to make this.
Actually, he's a friend of ours that has shared, like has given us a relationship with the buyer on this deal. So he even is making money on this deal.
So I negotiated.
Yes. Oh, it's an exciting one. This is getting confusing, by the way.
I'm sorry. I negotiated a good deal.
I'm getting confused, and it's our deal.
The point is, I negotiated a good deal, but when I ran it past a friend of mine, he showed us how we were leaving money on the table and could make it a great deal for both parties.
So let's move into co-opetition and the termite house, because that is a great leeway into this other property that we did. So I am, even though it was getting really confusing, glad you brought up that point, because we've worked with a buddy of ours on a few deals now. And it's funny because we have a friend in our marketing company too that has a very similar
business model.
Yep. Yet the guys meet every week. They're like accountability partners, and they share information with each other to help grow their businesses, because there's plenty of business out there, right? You don't have to be greedy with all your secrets. So,
Especially in real estate, there's so much room for everybody to win.
now we have this fun little phrase, co-opetition.
Not competition.
Co-opetition,
Co-opetition.
where you work with your competitor.
Yep.
And because there's plenty of deals, there's plenty of real estate deals out there. So not only did he help us out on that one deal and help us get a little bit more creative on there, but we did the termite house with him. So do you want to just briefly share?
So the termite house was.
This is more about
Oh, okay.
co-opetition.
Trying to keep me on track.
This is more about co-opetition.
Okay.
So let's just share.
It was
the
a great
takeaway on
house.
this. Yeah.
It had some termite damage.
Sorry, I got to keep him on
but
track this week, guys.
I couldn't get the price. I couldn't get the price any lower. We were basically all of the offers we were getting on this house were about what we had negotiated for, which means we wouldn't have made any money.
Yeah.
So we had some time on this property, and I negotiated as low as I could, and we just weren't getting any bites. And a friend of mine, also in real estate, is friends and does more business with another one of our buyers. I wasn't able to get that buyer to agree to pay more, but because of his relationship, it's a different relationship, and he was able to get that buyer to come up $10,000 more than everybody else was. So we were able to go from
we were
potentially
in a situation where we were going to make like a small little wholesaling fee to, by working with our co-opetition, he was able to make not only cut himself into the deal, but we ended up making more money at the end of the day.
Right. We could have done it by ourselves and made 100% of a little, and instead we made 50% of a lot more.
Right. Which ended up being more than our 100%. I mean, that's simple math, right?
Yep.
More is better. So that was a really cool thing. And that just makes me think again about like, we've come across a lot of people over time in our business and stuff that want to be like a little bit more secretive or greedier or whatever. And at the end of the day, I always think like I had that lack mentality a long time ago, and I've really had to let it go and realize that it's not always about like, I do believe that like you and I work really well together versus bringing other people into the real estate business with us, for example. It's just, we have a lot of synergy when we're working together in this business together, which is, I think, why we have so much fun doing it. We get to spend a lot of time together as husband and wife. But ultimately, if we were always so greedy, thinking like we can't talk to anybody about our deals and stuff like that, like if we always had this like scared mentality or this fear that somebody would take our deals or fear that somebody was taking our secrets, and I mean, it would be hurting us more than it's helping us.
Right.
It's like the only way to put it. And funny that now I'm talking about like all these stories lead into things that we use every day in our business. Like we love working together. We've recently had somebody come in as a mentee. Brandon's mentoring them in real estate, and they are in a situation where they're retiring. They're going to be retiring soonish, and they're just looking for something fun and new that they're going to be able to do so they don't get bored with having all this time in their day. But more importantly, they love the aspect that we work together. That's something that they are aspiring to do as well. And so they're starting to dive into real estate as another couple team in the same market. But again, there's enough deals to go out there. And the crazy thing is, and I forgot to even put it in our notes, but can we just brush quickly on the deal that we're closing on today with them? But this is like, literally, we just started coaching with him a week or two ago, right? Or a couple of weeks ago. And within a week time, he brought us a deal a week ago that a relationship of his that he's built over time.
Yeah, he's always been interested in real estate.
Yeah.
So as he's met people over the years, like he met other investors and would, pick their brain and what have you. So within a week of me saying, yeah, let's do something together, he's like, oh, my friend is giving me these two deals. If we can sell them before he does, he'll give us anything over what he needs to make. And so one of them was sold that fast. We couldn't move quick enough on it. Literally, I think sold the next day. And this one, I mean, it was literally a text message. He text messaged me like 5 pictures and the address and the price. And then I emailed it out to a handful of our VIP
buyers,
cash buyers, and had it sold for $6,000 more
within a week.
Yeah,
within a week. So there's a couple cool things about this. One, he's definitely getting the itch now. He's like getting excited about real estate, which is cool.
Call that the reality check. The first check you get, you're like, this is real.
Yeah, right. And you know, that deal wouldn't have come to the table if he didn't bring it to us. So where you think like, oh, they're splitting the deal, so it's a $6,000 deal. Obviously, like we're gonna take 3 and he's gonna take 3 on it, and then his friend's also making money as well. But what's cool about that is not only did all 3 of our relationships grow just over this one deal. Like, you don't think for
I
1
now
second.
have a buyer so now going backwards, the guy, his friend that gave him the deal is also now a potential buyer for us every time we send out
and
a deal.
he's a potential seller to us because as
Right.
he comes across more deals, he'll send them our way to see if we have a buyer. So it created a really good, solid relationship, and everybody made money at the end of the day. And it's another cool deal. I like that one. And within a week too, we didn't have to send out any marketing for this one. That was strictly off of a relationship we had and a relationship they had, and just putting all the pieces together.
Yep.
And forming the perfect situation for that one. So I love deals that go that fast.
The funny thing is that the buyer who's buying that had it under contract before, or was trying to buy it. The house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the house was.
I didn't even know that.
Had like $13,000 worth of fines and fees and
Yeah.
liens. So the seller just wanted to walk away without having to pay any of those fines. And for whatever reason, that buyer wasn't as good of creating a relationship with that seller, so he lost the deal for like 13 that he's now having. Now he's buying through us for 24.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
So he has to. So if you're not good at relationships,
so
it can cost you more money.
The short of the long was right. He didn't have a good relationship with the buyer, so he lost the deal. But he's getting the deal back at the end of the day because of these other 3 relationships as the middlemen to his original. That's kind of nuts. Mm-hmm. That's a small world. That's so cool. But again, like.
But no one cares because everyone's still making money.
Everybody's still making money, right? All right, finally, and we are definitely running out of time. So if we can keep this one short, let's talk about the condemned house and never giving. Oh no, gosh, we have more. I didn't even notice. Okay, we can brush on both of these really fast. Okay, the condemned house. This is the story of never giving up.
Oh, this one was a big pain in my side because the seller, this was a similar situation to the one we just talked about. The seller didn't have any equity in the house. It was paid off, but it was literally condemned, scheduled to be bulldozed. And I don't know if you know anything, but if you just leave a house, like let's say you inherit a house and it needs a bunch of work, you can't afford to fix it, you just leave it. The problem doesn't go away. The city sees that as a hazard, a liability. It attracts rats and all kinds of problems, and is an eyesore. So if you don't pay your fines and keep the grass cut and everything, eventually they say this thing needs to be torn down, and the city pays to tear it down, and then they send you a bill. So she had, I don't know, she had a $14,000 worth of fines that she was going to have to pay. And if it got bulldozed, the house, it wouldn't have been worth anything. So I knew she had a big problem, but she also had, she has some career that has her very busy. So keeping in touch with this woman was impossible. She would say that she's ready to sell, and she would fill out half the paperwork and everything would be good, and then she would just go dark for a week. And so the point of never giving up was this wasn't a big moneymaker either. I think we made like $3,500 plus we had it previously sold and had another $1,000 we made off of the earnest money deposit.
Because the original buyer fell through.
Right. It wasn't a huge moneymaker considering the amount of time that had to be put into it, but you know that the seller has a problem and they don't even realize how big a problem it is.
Yeah.
Like, she knew she didn't want to have to deal with it, but she was too busy, and eventually if she got too busy for too long, she was going to have an even bigger problem. So I went from being like follow up once a week, just send a text message, to like I'm leaving voicemails like, I hope you understand this situation. We might have to back out if the house does get like time's of the essence. I was a little more aggressive with this seller because I was selling her something that was good for her, that was helping her, and I didn't have to put in that extra time and effort. I didn't have to work that. I could have been like, oh, I'm just ready to give up. This is, eventually you got to cut your losses. But I didn't. And after a few of the last voicemails that I left, I finally started getting more active communication with her, and the house finally got sold, closed, and she was happy. But I think that thing was like 4 months worth of follow-up, 5 months worth of follow-up.
Oh, was it? I didn't even realize we were working on it that long.
At least 3 months worth of follow-up and 3 months of unnecessary follow-up, because from day one, it was, yes, we'll sell it at this price. Here's the contract. Go. So it was like follow-up to get it to the finish line, not follow-up to get her to agree to sell it.
Listen,
Like,
I
she
know
was ready to sell
I know
it.
we're talking about relationships today, but I think it's really important to just throw in that there's no freaking easy button in business. People think that, but not everybody, but there are a lot of people out there that think, let me jump into real estate. It's going to be easy money. It's not.
I mean, it's
We're
it's how
telling
look
you
at
the
it.
exciting, dramatic, listen, we made $30K in 5 weeks and look how we did it. But the reality is there was a lot of work leading up to those things, a lot of relationship building. We did do this in part-time hours, which to me is phenomenal. But it doesn't change the fact that, like, it's still work. It is still work. So,
Of course.
and a lot of people wouldn't even take 4 months to do that either. So again, it just really goes with like, not giving up, right? I mean, not giving up on several things, not giving up on that seller that really needed the help. You know, like Brandon has such a huge heart. He didn't want to see her be in that situation, but it's also not giving up. Like, you know, if somebody else had given up, you know, a month before, they wouldn't have had that deal, and she would have been in a bad situation. So
Right.
it's cool. Okay. Really, the last one, I forgot about
Two.
these for a minute. I'm grouping these two together and naming them both just the short sales, because they're two short sale deals we've been working on for like a year. And the main takeaway for
Literally
this is just
a year, not
yeah, I know.
exaggerating.
and we're not going to make like a fortune off either one. It hasn't taken like full time work or anything.
Right.
It was a lot of work at the beginning to get the sellers to agree to short sale their houses. It is a nerve-wracking. I feel like every time we're talking to a seller about short selling, like it's nerve-wracking for them. Like to understand, Brandon's really good at explaining the process, but for people to
Because
actually
we went through it ourselves.
right, but to actually have somebody pull the trigger on it and just trust that we're going to help them not have a foreclosure on their record. This takes a while to short sale somebody's house. So we have the two short sales, one of which is one of these 7 deals we talked about. One is an 8th deal that we haven't officially closed on yet, but is probably coming next 30, 45?
No, it should be closed in the next week or two.
What?
But,
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it
Like
was
closed,
coming
like
that
we're
soon.
buying it, but then we
Right.
still have to sell it.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But I didn't even we are acquiring the property finally, and I didn't realize it was that close. I still thought we had another month or a month and a half out. Yes, so we're going to have another deal coming up. We actually have 3 deals coming up in the next 3 weeks. So that's really cool. So it's just, let's talk a minute about building the pipeline, because some of these are, like short sales are a longer process, or we know, like I just said, I looked at the board and go, we have another 3 deals coming up in the next 3 weeks. And we have Christmas. Like those things aren't just like, this isn't by accident. This is because we put the work in. These things take a little time. Some of these like awesome deals, like the reality check deal comes along and it only takes a week for everything to go through because that original buyer already did all the work. We just had to do the work to bring the seller to the table. But then there's
Other way around.
you know what I mean. Yes, the other way around. They already had the
seller.
Yeah, we had to find the buyer. You know what I mean. Maybe not. Now it's clear. But with the short sales, we've really had to work on like building these pipelines, because we've been working on it for a while, but now it's finally coming to fruition. You know, we know we have.
The only reason I agreed to do the short sales was because we have a relationship that we've known for 10 years or so,
Yeah.
who actually helped us out of our 2 short sales back in 2007,
This
2008.
is when we originally were going into real estate, and it was at the height of the market, and then the market crashed, and we did not know what we did not know.
Right, but we had a
failed
friend
miserably.
who's literally like the expert on short sales.
Yeah.
So I would never do that work, negotiating with the banks and paperwork back and forth for a short sale. I wouldn't recommend anybody else do it, especially if you're a wholesaler. But I said, again, maybe I don't even make any money off of this. Maybe it's $1,000 that I'll see a year from now. Because again, I know the process for us I think our short sales took 2 years. I'm pretty sure they both took 2 years.
Yeah, ours were a while.
So
Ours took a
knowing
long time.
that, you could just say, oh, forget it, I don't want to deal with this. Or you could say, who do I know that does do short sales? Let me get that to them. Because that would have been only thinking selfishly, right? Instead, I want to be thinking, this seller, the husband died, and she couldn't afford to take care of the property, and the market went down. So she's in a really bad situation, living off of like $500 a month. So she found a good situation to move into with a condo, but she wasn't going to pay for a mortgage on a house that wasn't worth what, she could sell it for.
Right,
so
right.
I want to help her out. Also, the other house, the guy again was upside down. He has a VA loan, which are like so hard to get short sold. But again, bad situation. He had medical problems, and like the last thing that he was going to do was try to crawl.
He didn't want to
himself
set his wife up in a really bad situation,
case
down
he
the line
passed
in case he passed before her. And
Right.
really sweet couple too. They
So
were
all
really
I had to
sweet
do
couple.
was basically forward these to one of my relationships who does short sales, and we're partnering on it. We're splitting the profits 50-50. So it was 2 more deals that a year ago weren't that exciting, but of course now that
they're
they're closing,
getting exciting. I know.
it's like finally, my friend who helped me out 2 years ago, I'm actually able to give him, 2 more deals to, help his business grow that much more.
He's going
The
to us,
seller's
see,
happier.
this works. Let's do more deals together. So that relationship has grown through the process through that as well.
Right.
We actually had a guy, a really cool young kid working with us for a little while, learning real estate before moving on to another opportunity in real estate. And he was working with us on one of these short sales. And I can't wait till the end of the day when it closes, because I just can't wait to cut him a little check for the help he gave us on the property.
Right.
Just to be like, see, this is why we don't give up. Because we used to tell him all the time. He's like, I got to go over there again. I got to go over there again. I got to go get more papers signed. He was getting frustrated because it's a lot of work right at the beginning to do a short sale. And he literally was
It's just a lot of driving.
I got to go again, and there's no AC in her house. And we're like, dude, just do it. Because at the end of the day, we're going to help her out, and it's about relationships. And Brandon was telling him the whole time. So I just can't wait to be like, see, here.
Yeah.
And that's the relationship we had with him as well. Just creating that relationship with him. So cool to be able to help somebody else out that's also in the industry. So
Yeah, so whether it's a deal you're not going to see a check for a year, or it's a little $400 deal on this meth house, they all add up. And if you're in the business only for the money, and selfishly, and not thinking about the sellers, or not thinking about the buyers or your co-opetition that you're helping out, this is a relationship business, like any business. However, the more people are getting paid and the more people that are getting helped in a business, the better the relationships are. I love that I'm able to help my co-opetition continue to give him checks, because it's helping his family.
Right.
I have a relationship with his family. I know
Yeah.
that it's more than just hey, we both got more zeros in our business. No, it's more than that.
Yeah.
And real estate, there's so much to be made in real estate that there's so much more that everyone can get a piece of the pie and everybody's happy.
At the end of the day, all these, lots of littles, whether it's a deal that we did completely by ourselves, or a deal that we did with co-opetition, or whatever may have you, or a deal that we're doing with, a coaching, we're coaching somebody through a deal, and we're splitting that with them as well. No matter what it is at the end of the day, I'm okay with all these littles. This is side income for us. But even if it was our primary focus, we would just be doing double the deals or more. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of money, there's plenty of deals. I don't feel like we're getting shafted or the short end of the stick on any of this stuff. In fact, like, we're still making really great money on this business. So it's just something that, like, yes. And let's move into the marriage minute while I'm starting to think this thought through, because we want to say, like, it isn't just about the money. I don't say that because for me, I'm okay with admitting that for me, money is important. I don't think it's everything, right? I think, like, but money buys us,
it's not everything.
buys us experiences. It buys us the memories we want to create, and so on and so forth. So as we move into the marriage minute, it's okay to be like, there's all the feel goods of, like, money isn't everything, but money is important in a way. Money isn't
everything, but it ranks up there with oxygen.
Right. The money that we did with our co-opetition, like Brandon said, helps their family. Like, that's a feel-gooder for me. You know, I don't know about you, but it's a feel-gooder for me. And as we think about this in our marriage,
and they got a baby on the way, so that's like good right now.
I'm gonna snuggle that little baby. You know, when you think about this in the marriage, you put it really well. You said the more money we have, the more we can give. And that starts with our family. So I just wanted to round out the day and just have a quick little discussion with you on that, because I'm not like, I think I'm a little more blunt and not as polished sometimes when I talk about things, and I'm okay to admit that. So I'll be like, listen, money is important. Like, you need money to pay your bills. And I'll be like very guerrilla blunt about it, right? But at the end of the day, what I really try to say, which you're good at coming in and backing me up and helping me with, is that it's not so much about, yes, you do need to make money to make your bills, but what I'm trying to portray that's more important is, like, I'm saying we like to make a lot of money because it allows us to have freedom. It allows us to have flexibility. And we were discussing this morning, and I wanted to share it with all you guys because there's been times where Brandon and I have been extremely broke. I mean, they're just like, when we were growing our business and stuff, and even sometimes when we have to take a step back in our business to move forward, like, we'll feel the financial hit, right? And it can cause more tension or whatever. At the beginning of a relationship, I mean, it was just like all brawl out fights because, again, for me, I want to say money is important. Like, as we started to gain more success and we started to make more money, it relieved that pressure off of us, and we were able to just go and enjoy life more. So on the marriage side, I just want to talk about that with you for a minute and kind of get your feedback on it as well, because I think when we are doing great financially, it just allows us to be able to do more things for each other, for our family. I know when I go to a restaurant, we're on date night, and I'm worried about why we're going on date night, or like if we were like, okay, when we first had kids, we weren't making as much money. But I knew we needed a date night. I knew we needed to do things as a husband and wife and not be solely focused on Peyton, because it was just Peyton at the time. So, but we would seriously go out on date night, and I'd be like, okay, where's somewhere we can go that's like affordable, the cheapest babysitter I can get. Hopefully they're taking really good care of my kid. And it's like, it was all kind of stressful. But as our success has grown, it's been like, okay, we're going to go on a date night. Where do we feel like eating? We look at the menu. What do I feel like eating? You know what I mean? It's never
even more than that, right? Giving back to our family, being able to put the kids not in, what do they call them? There's a funny name for daycare, but it's not daycare. Like, we put them into a school. Like, they're like, we're investing in their education. That ain't cheap.
No, that's a bill he questions all the time. And I'm
Right.
like, but look at our children. They're thriving.
Being able to give the family experiences and go and travel and be able to go, host parties, like that doesn't happen for free. Be able to go on trips with other couples, right? We're going to go camping with other, like being able, having more doesn't mean like the jets and the Lamborghinis, right? It means,
But it can.
Yeah. Well, one day, maybe, I guess.
To you, that stuff's not as important. But I was sharing this with you earlier. Like, if it wasn't as unimportant to you, I would drive a BMW. I wouldn't drive a Hyundai.
I just want to remind you guys, making money is not just about paying the bills. And too many people with a job
It's the way.
It's like, how can I do this to cover the bills? No, we got to cover the bills and the extras. Whether your extras are
we do
jets
budget
and
that way.
Lamborghinis, or whether your extras are private school and extra babysitting expense, or whether your extras are, feeding the community, or being able to shelter homeless people. Whatever your extras are, like, I believe it's our duty, it's our responsibility to not just get by and get by. Like $100,000 a year jobs, like a lot of people are just getting by. They don't have the extras to take the extra vacations with the family and go on the Disney cruise. They don't have the extras to, Christmas times comes around and it's like, well, I want to give all my kids this. Oh, but I can only give, $100 to Toys for Tots. Like,
I want to be able to do it all. Right. And I realize, like, yeah, when we've been in times where we only could focus on ourselves, it actually hurt the relationships around us too, because if we were like, okay, we need to make sure we're paying our bills, then we're not paying attention to somebody that needs our help. And it may be something that we do, like maybe they're struggling with something that is so easy for us because it's something we work on every day in our business.
Just the conversation.
Right, but we're so focused on how are we paying our bills that we can't even take 30 minutes to have a conversation with a friend.
But typically we don't.
We can't.
Because you're in survival mode.
You can't.
Like,
when you're in survival mode,
before I can take care of you.
Exactly. You have to put your family first. So you're not going to put your friend that needs your help first when your family is losing their house or something, right? But when you have the extra ability to take an hour out, I mean, you literally take hours and hours out a week for other people. And I feel like I do too. Not necessarily just in business, but more on relationship stuff sides, like friendships and marriages, and having those type of deep conversations with people. And we wouldn't be able to do that if we weren't in a good situation financially. So I do think it is a luxury, depending on what you value, like, and the type of lifestyle you want for your family. Being able to give more it is a luxury. I mean, I know people who can give more and don't want for much, and that's good. But for our family, it's not either or. It is absolutely both. Yeah, it is. It's both important. And just to round this out here, like the amount of stress that it relieves from you and I want to just hit on that, because as like a husband and wife, when I don't feel like Brandon is stressing out to produce, he's producing and he's doing well, and I'm helping with that, and we're doing well as a couple too, because we're winning as a team together, and it only helps our marriage grow. So it's just something that I want to challenge you guys to think about. And the main point was, like, I heard just somebody say recently, like, money really isn't that important, and I really do think that's I just have my very strong opinion on it, and it's my opinion, but I do think that is a poorer mentality. I know plenty of people that want to give to people, and in order to give to other people, they have to be able to have the lifestyle they want first, and that does involve money. So it's just challenging you that if there's passions and stuff that you want to go out there to pursue, considering things like real estate and stuff like that, where they have a plethora of ways to build up more than you need for your nest egg, and then you get extra income to be able to contribute however it is, whether it's a Lambo or it's, or something else that's monetary, or like those other times or help or whatever that you're able to give to other people, or just investing that more in each other. Like, we're already talking about, like, we went goal planning the other day, and we took a nice 5.5 mile walk, which is amazing. We hadn't done that in a while. We've just been really busy in our businesses. So we've taken like date nights. We're really, really avid about date nights. But the other day we were like 2018 goal planning, which we love to do every year. And we just kicked off that conversation, and we thought we were going to walk a couple miles, and we ended up walking 5.5 miles. The conversation was just so good. If we were in a bad situation, we wouldn't have carved out the time. We wouldn't have even considered doing it. It just would have been like survival mode, like it had been years ago. Mm-hmm. So being able to do those things, like, also helps our marriage and our relationship. And like, we are coming up with some great things for business and personally that we're working on for next year. And it's exciting. It's motivating, and it's getting me really pumped for what's to come in the next year. Gonna be the best year yet. I say that every year. Every year I'm like, this is going to be our
And
best
every year
year.
you're right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, what did you say?
I said, and every year you're right.
What was that? I didn't quite hear you. All right, guys. I think we have talked your ears off. I hope we made sense. Sometimes we're so excited about things. I'm like, were we clear enough?
If not, watch it back again or listen again. All right. So just a reminder, regardless of what business you're in, hopefully you're taking a closer look at real estate investing. But in your business, you need to invest in relationships, invest in the relationship with your customer or client. In our instance, that's our motivated sellers. Invest in your relationship with your partners or your co-opetition. In that case, that's usually our buyers or our other wholesalers that we work with. And build your pipeline. Don't pass up a $400 deal. Don't pass up a deal that is a little too complicated. Stay following up, stay building the pipeline, because you need your pipeline. It's not about the home runs, right? It's about having those consistent base hits. That's how you maintain cash flow, and that's how you keep the lights on, and you can, grow the business so that you do have those fun home run days where you're like, oh, this was a super easy deal.
Like bonus
and it
money. Yeah.
Right? So build your pipeline. And that's it, guys. So like we say every week, everyone wants a phenomenal marriage. Everybody wants a great business. Everybody wants to be great parents. And
we're working hard every day to do all of those. And
yeah,
then
it doesn't
some.
just happen.
It's not always easy.
Right. So we're putting in the work. As you can see, our conversations get a little intense sometimes. It's work. We take this very seriously. We have fun with it, and sometimes it's just work. And that's okay. We're putting in the work to make it work. So take what you want. What you don't want, don't take. And please head over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. We got to come up with some competition. We got to gamify this thing. Like a certain number of iTunes reviews. Once we hit 50, we're giving away something. We got to figure out what that is.
Okay, we're going to give away something. So start heading over there now.
Keep
and we'll do a random
an
drawing.
eye out for that. And definitely check out MiddletonMethods.com for other helpful resources. We appreciate you guys. Share this with another people. Help us spread the word. And other people.
Give it to another people.
Next week for episode 51 of the Middleton Methods podcast.
Oh my gosh, this is episode 50!
This is 50, yep.
Yeah, that's almost a whole year.
I think we're more excited than they are, so.
Listen, that is exciting stuff, babe. Holy cow.
We'll see you next week, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bye guys.